Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, please email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. Today we're discussing the final version of the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Yacht-Master II. Of course, the original bowed in 2007. It became then, and remains today, the most complicated Rolex ever made. Unexpected because it was a programmable mechanical memory flyback fly-forward regatta timer, a very, very specific application, and yet the watch turned out to be surprisingly versatile. We'll talk about that in a moment, but let's just be clear. This is a Rolex certified pre-owned example. More details on that at the end of the video, but this is the final version. As the dial changed in 2017, it features the caliber 4161 that arrived in 2013, and of course the model was discontinued altogether in 2024. So that's the potted history. Let's talk about the size and the fit. In yellow gold, 44 millimeters in diameter, you're going to find that it's 14 millimeters thick, lug-to-lug just the case, 50 millimeters, end-link to end-link. The total distance across the wrist is 56.9 millimeters. And then we have a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. You can see this is one of the more deluxe of the Oyster clasps, as it's got the articulated spring-loaded lift lock system where you've got the beak and then you've got the hook inside the clasp, but then you've also got the clamshell on top of that. And of course Rolex thinks of everything. See that little kerf that's been molded into the components so you can dig your nail in underneath the clamshell? So two different locks, and then we've got two different ways of sizing this up inside the clasp. So we've got Easy Link, which is a tool-free in-out, snap-in, snap-out adjustment system. Then you can see, I'll do my best to show you this, there are 3 pairs of divots with little tracks leading into the divot. So you can use your strap tool to change the anchoring point of the bracelet using a spring bar tool. You can dismount the spring bar and you can make that fine change. So Easy Link, the divots, and then several screw-fixed removable links. You can see we have those on both sides of the bracelet. The bracelet is deluxe. We've got a conforming end link that seamlessly mates the bracelet to the case. A little bit of taper down towards the clasp. You can see polished outer faces, polished centers, satin finished flanks. The watch features a Rolex trip lock crown in gold, and you know that because it is a 3-dot crown with the center dot the largest. The watch is 100 meters water resistant, as befits a yacht master, to be worn by masters of yachts or those who simply like the idea of seafaring. Solid caseback. People always ask me about the casebacks, and generally that is what you will find. Think of it as a bonus gold dollar on the back of your watch. So here we have the ring command bezel, and one of the interesting features of the caliber 4161 is that at least part of the movement is external to the case. So this bezel here is not used for timing in the conventional sense, although it does have calibration that allows you to read the regatta hand. Instead, what you've got is a cerachrom scratch-resistant insert on top of what is effectively part of the complication. So I'm going to screw the crown out, and then I'm going to turn the bezel, watch this, until it stops counterclockwise. Now you take the little trigger, which would normally be your reset trigger, you push that in, it stays there, and now you have the ability to adjust the countdown timer. So anything from 1 to 10, it's fun to play with. Now this is where the versatility comes in. I find that oftentimes the intervals that I monitor with a chronograph are considerably shorter than 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and God help us, hours at a time. If I'm cooking, if I have an intermission at a show or time before a meeting resumes or before I have to catch my flight, this can be quite helpful. So even if you are a landlubber and not a nautical type, the ability to program your countdown is very useful. Now, of course, once you've found the time that works for you, you turn the bezel back, the reset trigger becomes your reset trigger again, and that first position, which is where the crown was for setting the countdown, that now becomes the winding position. Pull it out. Now you've got a time setting position for the crown, and the watch does feature hacking or stop seconds. You can see there's a little concentric pattern track for the running seconds down at the base of the dial. More on the movement in a moment, but let's talk about what makes this the final version. The most obvious differences are the use of the distinctive so-called Mercedes-style hour hand, the large triangular index up at 12 o'clock, and this elongated vertical rectangular index down at 6. So if you're ever trying to identify whether one of these is the 2017 to 2024 version, which this is, the last, those are the features you look for. Now, the dial has a lot of gold hardware, hands, indices, all of that's gold, so it will never tarnish or oxidize with time. It is a colorful watch, yellow gold, white, blue, red, black, all on this dial. It's a very animated and cheerful watch with a nice sort of visual symmetry to it. Let's take a look at the lume shot, and you can see it uses Rolex's Chromolite distinctive blue lume. Rolex, a fully integrated manufacturer. It's not just the dials, cases, and movements. They make things like lubricants and even the luminescent material that is used in these watches. So, of course, this is a very rare watch because in 2013, Rolex launched the steel version of the Yacht-Master II. So this is the 116688. There was also a steel version. So you know, because this reference ends in an 8, it's made of yellow gold. Well, there's also a version that ends in a 0. And when that steel version arrived, only very elite and discerning customers went out looking for either the full yellow gold or the full white gold model. So after 2013, these full gold models became a lot less common, even more so late in production when this final variant dial arrived. So just in terms of Rolex sequencing model distinctions and sub-variants as well as collectibility, this is really up on a pedestal. Now, underneath the case back, we have that caliber 4161. The original 2009 launched with 4160. Some revisions were made to make it more durable. In 2013, it was always pretty durable, but Rolex likes to improve. So this is the 4161 with those running changes. 48 pivot jewels makes it the most heavily jeweled Rolex movement of the 21st century. And what's important to note is that it has the same vertical clutch and column wheel combination as the Cosmograph Daytona. So the vertical clutch allowing you to run the chronograph full time with no additional hazard, wear, or tear to the movement. And also the vertical clutch allowing for seamless engagement. Unlike a lateral clutch, a vertical clutch has no play, so the hand always starts true without any stagger or jump. The column wheel feel is premium and world-class. Now, as the mechanism operates, let's see, if I were to press the reset trigger, watch the little index on the regatta timer. See how it jumps back? Well, if it were closer to the 8, it would jump forward because centering on the nearest minute has value to yachtsmen who are competing in the match within a regatta. There are individual races within a sailboat race, and being able to center to the nearest minute has value to them. So this is not just a fly back, it is also, if you're closer to the next minute, is a fly forward chronograph. It has a very snappy reset, and of course flyback action allowing you to start again from the programmed time. But what will happen is until you change the programming, the mechanical memory will remember what countdown you've set. Also worth mentioning, because someone will wonder, what if I leave it running past the point that the minute index reaches 0? The answer is that nothing will happen once that minute index reaches the end, but the chronograph seconds will continue to circulate. And for some people, that's perfect because they like to have center seconds on their watch. The movement is bidirectional winding, and unlike a lot of Rolex movements back when this watch originally came out, it actually uses a ball bearing on the bidirectional winding rotor rather than the jeweled staff that Rolex used to use. This is just a little bit more durable. 72-hour power reserve, 4 hertz. It is a superlative chronometer, which means Rolex gets the COSC chronometer certification on the movement, but then cases it up, tests it in 6 positions, and ensures it runs no worse and often considerably better than +2, -2 seconds per 24 hours as a fully assembled watch. It features a full balance bridge with a free-sprung balance for shock resistance. It features an overcoil hairspring that allows the watch to be isochronous, or a consistent timekeeper in any orientation with respect to gravity. And that hairspring is Rolex's blue oxidized niobium zirconium cerachrom bleu, which is extraordinarily anti-magnetic. All of this beating away at 4 hertz, or 28,800 vibrations per hour. That's a lot to take in, but it's also a lot to watch, and a very rare and collectible version. The most complicated modern Rolex watch, and it could be yours, certified pre-owned. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed and authenticated by Rolex. Should any reconditioning be necessary, it will be to a Rolex certified standard, and any parts invested Rolex factory original. Should the initial retail box, paper, and accessory set still accompany the watch, it will be included with the sale. But no matter what, a certified pre-owned box and paper set starts with an outer box, a leatherette travel pouch with suede lining, a warranty card that embodies the 2-year globally valid Rolex-backed warranty. Note this is not a retail warranty, but backed by Rolex and actionable at any of its authorized points of sales and service. A leatherette wallet includes the warranty terms and conditions manual. A holographic hang tag marks this as a certified pre-owned Rolex watch, and a manual details Rolex's values as a company. The certified pre-owned program: care, feeding, service, and use of your Rolex, locations of points of sales and service, and details of Rolex.com. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed only by Rolex.